Yeah.
Okay, super. Thank you very much, because I thought I might even forget to do that, because that's one of those things, isn't it, that you forget to press record. So, um, again, just yeah, thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate people joining me for this. I just wanted to start kind of with a little bit of grounding before we get started. So if everyone's happy to do this, what I'd like to do is we're going to use our soul, which is something that I have in the book, which if you sit down, get self comfortable, relax your shoulders a little bit and take a couple of deep breaths. You don't have to close your eyes. But within the book, we use our soul, which is soften your forehead, open your chest, unclench your jaw, and lower your shoulders. Uh, Take a few deep breaths, and that helps you feel a little bit more relaxed. So I thought we'd use that. So that's actually part of the book. I know one or two people here have got the book. I think most people here have got the book. Oh, wonderful. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So what I wanted to do is the book's been out now since the beginning of May. And I really wanted to kind of do a proper launch of it. But as it turns out, we're launching two products today, because one's already out and one is absolutely brand new, and there's only one or two people that have actually seen this. So what I actually wanted to do is I'm going to share my screen, because I've done a little presentation. So let me see if I can figure out how to do this, because it's one of those things that I don't. Yeah, so share screen, launch presentation, and share. So can we all see my
Yes.
Yeah.
chaos? Okay, brilliant. Right, so I'm actually going to share a little bit about the story. So in the book, my main line is, may you turn your darkness into light, your chaos into calm, and your feelings into your fiercest kind of magic. So I just wanted to kind of tell a story. I know it's one of the things that you're meant to do is tell stories. So I wanted to kind of tell the story about being about the same age as the little girl that's in my book. I was about 12 or 13 years of age. I was already the alternative kid, the punk rocker, the one into all the weird music and the wild fashion, and a little bit too loud and way too much for some people. Um, but that summer we went to Primrose Valley in Filey, and my dad, who had renal failure, wanted to give us a proper holiday. And normally he had to have dialysis for 3 times a week for 5 hours. But that year, he decided to take a drink called Resonium A, which I'm not sure what it did, but it allowed him to go slightly longer in between his dialysis. And so he could actually dialyze on the Saturday, go on holiday, come home on the Wednesday, and then go again on go back after he dialyzed Wednesday, and he could last until the following Saturday. So he decided to take this Resonium, and it smelled lovely. It smelled like marshmallows. But actually it was horrible. He had to take it over the sink because it always made him gip, and he was nearly sick with it. But it was something that he did to make sure that we could have a good holiday. So midway through the week, they had to go back to Barnsley for my dad to go on his dialysis machine. And they gave me the choice at 12. This is what I can't quite understand, but they gave me the choice to stay at Primrose Valley on my own with my dog, and do my own thing for the day. So I chose to stay, and my responsible adult was the candy floss man, Paul, who sold candy floss and toffee apples at Primrose Valley. So he was the guy that was there for me if I needed anything. And mum and dad came home and did my dad's dialysis and returned back the same day. So about 6 o'clock in the morning, they got up and they Drove home. Dad went on dialysis, came back in the evening, ready for tea. And that was it. So I got up on my own and made my own breakfasts. I went for a walk on the beach with the dog, my little dog Mika. Uh, so I spent the day, and it's not because anybody did anything wrong. Life was just complicated. My mum and dad were juggling a lot. Mum had spina bifida, dad was poorly. Um, but I became quiet and kind of on the edge of everything. And I remember that day was a day when I started to believe that I kind of was shrinking a little bit, quietening, trying not to be a burden too much for the family. And it's only now looking back on it that I realized that I did that. So, it's not a story of a girl, it's a story of a little girl who felt too much and yet not enough. And that was how I kind of felt as a child. And this is, I think, where the story of the Soul Ranger began. I know Lisa actually mentioned that having read the book, there's an awful lot of me in it. Um, so yeah, this is a story for that child. It's about reconnecting with your inner child. It's about realizing that you're strong. It's about surviving the emotional roller coaster of life and about discovering your magic through color. So, yeah, so how did we get to where we are? So, the dream, the painting, and the message. So, years later, another story for you. So I'm on holiday again, this time in Burnham-on-Sea in a caravan with my ex-husband and my son, Lee. And one night I had a dream. And maybe it was an out-of-body experience, I don't know. But I saw myself walking around the caravan. I could see us all asleep in our beds, and I ended up sitting in the living room having a silent conversation with somebody who was sat to my side that I couldn't see. So the next day, didn't think too much of this dream or whatever it was at the time, but the next day, as we're walking around Weston-super-Mare, I decided to get some paints and some watercolor paints and a pad. And I painted a Native American Indian. And this Native American Indian just came from nowhere, this face, this beautiful face of this Native American Indian that I was really drawn to. Anyway, popped it in my bag and we went home. When we got home, Mum told me that Dad had been taken into hospital the same night that I'd had the dream. And he had a choice to make him he had a risk of a major operation or the infection that he had in his foot could have killed him. So we visited him and I gave him the painting and he absolutely loved it. He wouldn't let the nurses move it. And that day, the next day, sorry, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who's a medium. And he said, Hi, you've got a message for your dad and you've got to tell him. And I'm like, I have no idea what this message is. But then suddenly I heard it again and it said, if you've had enough, you've got to let go. So I told him. I told my mum that I was going to tell him, and she said, You must. So I told him. And he said that he wanted to stay with us. And then the following night, when we went to see him, he said he'd changed his mind. And he passed away the next morning. So I believe he'd changed his mind about staying, not about having the operation. So a few days after the funeral, I was due to run a well-being fair, a mind, body, spirit fair, and I had another dream. This time it was about doing chakra readings using color cards, which is where the picture is here. So using a pendulum over colored cards, I was able to find out where the chakras, the energy centers within your body, were working correctly. Like I said, this was a dream. I had no idea whether it would work or not. So the people that were coming to the Wellbeing Fair that I had, I said to them, will you give this a try? Will you see whether it works for you? And they all had a go and it all worked beautifully. They all said, yeah, that's it. It works. And from that day, I believe that colour is something I inherently know about. I wanted to study it. I did an online course. This is a long time ago, 20 years ago, when online courses were very, very basic, and not many people did them. And I did the first couple of modules, and it was like, no, it's just not right. It doesn't feel right. It's not what I think, what I believe. So I quit the course and decided to follow how I felt about it. And yeah, I think now with actually getting out there and getting the book together, I get to tell that story on my terms, using my own voice and in absolute full colour. So how it started, how the book started, it started with a whisper. Um, it was something that as I grew up and I got weirder and louder and became a mum and did some healing and creating and colouring and whatever, I still wanted to tell that story about the little girl who always felt like she was too much. Um, and a couple of years ago during COVID, I got the idea for a story. It kind of just kept whispering at me again. But I had no idea how to write a children's book. That was kind of not my thing at all. So I Googled it, like you do. So I Googled, and on the Saturday, that was on the Friday, and on the Saturday, I started writing it, and on the Sunday, it was done. So I generally don't know who wrote that book, but I'm not quite sure that it was me. Um, so a couple of weeks later, I started doing the illustrations and I showed to a few close friends. I showed it to my mum. I created this image that you can see here where um, it has all the pictures on there. That was my first iteration, the original draft. And I gave a copy of it to mum. In fact, I think that's the copy that I gave to her. And she loved it. And then I put it in a drawer. I don't know why I didn't do anything more with it, but I popped it in a drawer and there it stayed until after Mum passed away. So a couple of years ago, the last proper conversation that I had with Mum before she went away on holiday, was about the book. When are you going to finish it? So now 2 years later, Mum didn't come back off holiday, bless her. But 2 years later, we're here and the book is here, and yeah, I've actually kept my promise. So, like I said, the book, and as few people have shown, I know at least 3 or 4 people have got a copy of this. So this is my book. Um, it is The Adventures of Rayne-Beau, Soul Ranger. And again, that name, that title is, I found the little book that I had originally where I wrote all my notes down, and it's all in there. The title and everything, it's all in there. Um, so it was always going to be square. I have no idea why it was always going to be square, but it was always going to be square. And I started, I think, in earnest doing the illustrations about a year ago. And I think it took a long time for me to realize that, that it was going to be a big deal. It was really going to be a lot of work to to pull it together. So I gave myself a deadline. I said I was going to launch it on the 3rd of May this year. And I did. The last few months were a little bit fraught, and the printers, I kind of got it to the printers in just enough time to get it back ready for the 3rd, but we did get it back, thankfully. So I did, I kept my promise. I said I'll finish it, and I did finish it. So, what I'd like to do now is, I know, like I said, I know a few of you have got this, but I thought it might be nice to kind of just read the first little bit of the book. And then anybody who hasn't got it can see what it's about. So like I say, it's not necessarily a children's book. It is for ages kind of 9 to 12 if you're going to say it's a children's book, but I think it's also for adults as well. So The introduction. A rumble of thunder growls in the distance, and Rayne-Beau, with her bare feet dangling over the edge of the boat, looks up to the dark grey skies, excited by the prospect of a storm. She loves how the intensity of the thunder makes her catch her breath, and the flashes of lightning make her feel like a celebrity on the red carpet. She works the heavenly paparazzi, striking silly poses in her ranger's uniform with each flash. Rayne, be careful. Come inside if it gets too wet, her father shouts. I will, but it's awesome out here, she yells, laughing. The family are on the way to their new home. Her beloved grandfather recently passed away, and her mum felt the urge to be nearer her own mother now that she's alone. They found a beautiful house on the coast, just doors away from Nanny. Big raindrops begin to fall like tears. Rayne stops her dance and is suddenly sad. She misses her pops. Even though they only saw her grandparents a few times a year, they were in contact each week by phone or post. Rayne realizes she's never actually visited their home. Her grandies had always visited them, with mum and dad always being so busy with work commitments. As an only child, Rayne has her sheepdog Saffron to keep her company, but not many friends. She'd always loved to draw and paint and had colouring books and crayons wherever she went. Her mother had often described her as a bit of an odd child, but Dad said she was just an old soul, as she had a real connection with animals, loved nature, and would spend all her time exploring alone. As soon as she was old enough, she'd joined the Rangers, and her uniform was covered in badges for creativity, community, and conservation projects. At 12, she'd already had to navigate moving to big school, and she'd found it totally overwhelming. But at least all her class had had to do it at the same time. This time, it would just be her moving. Not only school, but house too. She would no longer have the familiarity of her classmates, routines, and the way her room was set up, just the way she liked it. She had to leave behind the treehouse that her dad had built her safe space, her den, the place where she could paint and draw without adult interference. She was dreading the sensory overload of the new school and worried about fitting in and living up to expectations. The whole thing made her extremely anxious. Her parents made it out to be just some big adventure, and at times she had felt the spark of excitement, new places to explore, and people to meet. But she knew that she would more than likely face the experience alone, as usual. So there's the first chapter. It's like I say, it's actually got an awful lot of me in it. Anybody that knows me knows it's got an awful lot of me in it. Um, so yeah, that's the main book. And if anybody wants to get a copy, it is at my website, which is raychel.co.uk. So it's really easy to remember. raychel.co.uk. So what's next? Yeah, buy the books. If you haven't already got the books, buy the books. But I have got another book, which is ta-da! So here is my colouring book. So I've created a colouring and activity book to go alongside it. So in there we have all the colours as in the main book. So you can see what all the colours mean, what the meaning is behind them. And then in there we also have lots of colouring pages, information about the colours, a little bit of text about each one, all the different colours there. Green in the centre because it's the heart, it's for everything, it's for love and compassion and empathy. So I made sure that was in the middle pages. And I also have, where is it now? So we have a word search and a crossword and just some little activities at the back. So creating your own companion, what's in your backpack. So this is an associated book that goes with the main book and fits perfectly in a 7-inch pizza box so we can send them out. So Awesome. So those are my books. So if anybody hasn't got the books, wants to buy the books, whatever. So those are the things that I've got already. And coming soon, I'm also doing the Mystical Companions journal. So those of you who've already got the book knows that every step of the way, Rayne encounters mystical companions that help her on her journey. And the journal will also give you that information. So it'll be the meaning behind the colours, the meaning behind the animals, and what they do and what they bring to general life and associated products. So I'm also in the next couple of weeks been working with a beautiful lady called Lauren who makes gorgeous candles and room sprays, and she's made me a full set of 12 coloured room sprays and candles that will be launching at the end of June, I'm hoping. So you will be able to buy each of the colours. So each of the things in the book is like that's the red house. So you've got the coral beach, you've got the black ocean, and we've worked the fragrance to try and evoke that kind of feeling in the fragrances. So that's super exciting. And then I'm wanting to start the Colour Witches Coven, which is a community. I'm going to start with a change challenge, so I'd love to invite you all to join me for that, which takes you on the change curve and the journey, and it really breaks down all of the things that you need on there. We have pause, reset, power up, and play, which will be another session, and then the transformation trail, which will be a 12-week breakdown of each of the 12 colours. So, I will, if I can figure out how to, I've only got 10 minutes left, so like stop sharing. How do I stop sharing? Stop sharing. There we go. So has anyone got any questions? Would anybody like to add anything? And thank you very much for coming. Nobody's got anything to say.
Uh, can I just say, I think it's absolutely amazing, Rachel. I think that your gift with colour is just phenomenal. And I'm wanting a copy. And I'm wanting a copy particularly for my 7-year-old granddaughter who's into all things ooky spooky. And it will be a perfect gift for her ready for Christmas. And I'd like the both. Now, I've just been on your website and I can get the book, but it doesn't have the second one coming up as a possibility to buy at that time.
Oh right, it should have both the main book and the colouring book and both together as a bundle.
All right, well, let me just have another go.
Yeah.
Have another.
Yeah, if anybody wants to pop anything in the chat, if you don't want to speak or if you've got any questions about where we are.
I love the idea of the companions delving into them and them having their own story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll be
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So that will be a journal as it is. But then I'm thinking even further down the line that each one of the colours could have its own book. So, you could really delve into the Black Ocean and what it means about like anxiety and depression and things like that. But then also the Yellow Bridge, which is the complete opposite, which is all about joy and happiness and things
I
like that.
found
So
it.
you've got it. Oh, brilliant,
I've
Wendy.
got it.
Smashing.
What's on? I'm in the process of purchasing it now.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So
All
yeah,
right.
So is the journal, Rachel, for adults or is it still for
well,
children or can it be for
it
both?
can be for both. I mean, I genuinely think that, I think to me personally, I'd still do colouring in and whatever as kids. So the activity book is quite child friendly, but again, I think as an adult, you could still join in with the activity book and the journal. It can be as deep and meaningful as you want it to. So there'll be questions about how does things make you feel, and then you can get into some quite deep. So if it's really, if it's for a small child, then parents can work with them and they can go through the questions. And then if it's not, if it's an older child that can do it their own, they can even do it together with parents. You can use extra paper or your own journal, your own notebook to write in. So yes.
So they're not available yet, are they?
No,
The
no,
journal?
it's
No.
partly
Yeah.
done. I'm hoping to have that done by the end of August. So it will definitely be out ready for Christmas.
Yay.
Have you thought about taking it into school?
Yes, I'd love to take it into schools. I'd love to do some book readings at schools and kind of try and work with kids to get them to experience their emotions, because it's difficult to go into in a lot of depth, but the the way that color affects you is that it affects your emotions. So if we're going to go a little bit woo-woo, which is absolutely fine, I don't mind going woo-woo every now and again. This is kind of about your chakras, which are the energy centers in your body, which draw in the energy from the universe and balance your emotions. When those chakras are not spinning correctly, that means that the frequency's wrong, which means that you get emotional issues. If emotional issues are not dealt with, that's when you get physical problems, which is why by using color, you can actually remind your body how it should be working, because we don't see color. Color's just the frequency that it bounces back off things. So the frequency it bounces back is exactly the same as each of the 7 major energy centers within your body. And each of those has a different frequency, which is the same frequency as the color, which is why when we see the color, it reminds your body how it should be working. Really quite simple. And you can eat the color, you can wear the color, you can draw on colored paper, you can just use it however you want to make sure that you've got an abundance of that color. And yeah, by healing your emotion, you can heal a lot of physical pain. So yeah, I'd love to take it into schools. Anybody else got anything that they'd like to say or whatever? Because I've not got long because I'm only on the cheap Zoom.
It's ordered.
Thank you, Wendy.
I've only been trying to get it for weeks. I don't know how long. So no, it's lovely. I'm so glad I joined.
Oh, smashing. Thank you.
So I wish you absolutely all the best. I've got to go now because I've got my grandson with me. But
Okay.
it's been a joy and thank you so much.
Thanks,
And you're
Wendy.
looking gorgeous. I love the hair. I love the specs. I love it all. Bye, love.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye. So yeah, anybody else get anything? So I feel like I've kind of hurtled through that at speed, but I did realize that I only have 40 minutes on the free Zoom, so
No, it's just a case of when's everything coming up. That's the thing. It's like the timeline of it all
yeah.
happening.
Right. So I hope to get the Mystical Companions out, like I say, by the end of August. The coloured fragrances, I'm collecting them from Middlesbrough on the 28th of this month. So hopefully they'll be on sale. I'll be able to put them on the website and also take them to events and festivals and things like that. So I'm going to be at Ree's event on the Saturday and nipping out for a few hours and then bringing them back. So Ree, you'll be one of the first that gets to see and smell those.
Yay.
I was just going to say, right? It smells gorgeous, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I haven't done anything with it, but that's just print. Print just smells amazing.
Lovely.
Yeah.
No, but smell mine.
Everybody sniff the books. Yay. So yes, the by the end of August, Mystical Companions, and then sort of the autumn will be pulling together any other ideas that I might be able to come up with before Christmas. But the Colour Witches Coven is something that I really want to do, to start a little group of people, and we'll use colour as a kind of a way of helping each other on a day-to-day basis. So, little meetings like this and going to events and stuff. So tomorrow I'm off to Liverpool to a neurodiversity festival to showcase the book. And then this coming weekend with Linda and Ree, I will be at the Van Life Festival showcasing the book. And then the following weekend at Ree's Festival, the Wow Gathering. So yeah, it's kind of all hurtling towards getting out there and getting people to see it. And I really appreciate everybody's support. It's been amazing. So the story goes into a little bit more about the story in how the book came about in the back of the book. And you may have noticed that my husband is here. So yeah, he's been amazing. He's helped me do this, and he's given me the encouragement to actually get on with it and do something. And as you can see, he's got both the books on the back of his
Yeah, they're up there. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a real bookshelf. People don't believe him when he's at work. Yeah. Right, so I've got less than a minute left. So if nobody's got any questions, I will say thank you very much, and I'll drop the video on my page and on my Colour Witch page as well. And if anybody's got any other questions, just drop me an email, a text message, or a WhatsApp, and I'll answer them if I can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Bye.
See you.
Bye,
See ya.
everyone.
See you
Bye.
Friday.
See you Friday.
Oh no, don't leave.
I ain't got a clue, so I'm leaving it to you guys.